Hi, welcome back to ET14 News. I am your host, Ethan Tangerine, but you can just call me Ethan number 1. This is Learning Log 6. This is going through September 25th through September 29th of 2017. I would like to introduce the Masterpiece Theater. No one knows what book he's going to read, but it sounds interesting. Here you go, Masterpiece Theater. Take it away. Hi, welcome back to the Language Arts. And I'm your host, Masterpiece Theater narrator. For this week, I have chosen a book. The Adventures of Robin Hood. So, at the beginning, it told how Robin Hood came to be, and how he found his friend, Little John. So, I'm going to tell you how Robin Hood became Robin Hood. One day, a probably 13 to 12-year-old kid was walking down the road, or maybe teenager, I don't know, until three men, probably drunk, I forgot what happens next, but Robin challenged them to how far can you shoot contest. So Robin shot the farthest, but he hit a deer. This is no ordinary deer. This belongs to the king, so it's technically called a king's deer. So, a few things happened then, and until one of the drunk men and shot a bow, but missed him really bad, until Robin Hood shot back, but he killed him. The other two fled. The other two drunken men fled. And Robin did not like to kill things, so he ran into the forest. And that's how he became Robin Hood. Then he found a few friends along the way and to start a band. But he didn't know at the time that he was wanted because the sheriff was hunting him because he broke the law of shooting a king's deer. But one person that he found, he was walking alone in the forest until he saw a small bridge, basically a log, over a small creek. Until he saw an older man and bigger on the other side. Things later, they were arguing about who should cross first. So they decided to go on the log and have giant sticks and beat each other with it. Until Robin Hood got knocked down into a small creek. And before this, he told his band that if they heard a small horn 3 times, they will come to that horn. When Robin blew the horn 3 times, a huge group of men came. Then a few things later, Robin Hood and the strange man got together. His name was John Little. But Robin probably didn't like that name and decided to change his name to Little John. And that's how he got in the band. After a while, the sheriff really wanted to catch Robin Hood. And so he set up a trap. If you want the Disney version of this, I would recommend you watch Robin Hood. The one with the fox and a bear. Now where was I? Oh yes. And so the trap was a shooting contest with bows and arrows. As the winner would get a golden arrow. But Robin Hood knew this was a trap because one of his men told him it was a trap. So he decided to put everyone in disguises, including himself, if he didn't go to the archery range. So after a while, until this really strange man, and with one eye, was really good at this archery range, and until he won and got the golden arrow. But the sheriff was upset about his trap not working. So then, I think he went to the king, and apparently had a feast, thinking that Robin Hood was too afraid to show. Until when he was raising a toast, all of a sudden an arrow flew out of nowhere, or hit the table and hit the part of the table in front of the sheriff for the note. I basically said, haha, you got pranked by Robin. And I was the old man and with the one eye patch. And that was the first 2 chapters of this book. This week I wrote a little something called How to Build a House If You're Stranded. Now I'm going to tell you what it says on how to build a house in the wild. Number 1. You will need lots of wood, leaves, and rope for this project. Number 2. Tie the ropes with the wood to make 4 walls. Or more. Depends how big of a house you want. Number 3. When you also need to build a flooring, and for the roof you would need long sticks. You need 4 long sticks so you can put it at each corner. Then number 4, you tie leaves onto those long poles, and then you're done. And for this week, I have been studying subject-verb agreements, action and linking verbs, writing correct sentences, writing wrong sentences, and so forth. Now we're gonna wrap it up. For language arts, we're gonna go to Ethan number 1. Thank you, Ethan number 2. That was really interesting on the Book of Robin Hood. Now we're gonna move on to Ethan number 3, our frustrated math student. And I heard that he has really bad anger issues. Go. Hi, I'm Ethan number 3. You totally didn't saw me laughing there. And I'm gonna tell you about math. I finished chapter 8 of math and chapter 8.5 of math. I took my test, and in total I got an 80%. And I've also I've started chapter 9.1 on linear equations. That'll be all for this time. Now if you excuse me, I'm just gonna beat myself into the wall. Well, I hope he sees a doctor or therapist. We're gonna move on to Ethan number 4, our mad astronomer, and see how he's doing this week. Hi, welcome back to Astronomy. I'm your host, the mad astronomer. Now we're gonna move on to what we did this week. This week I have I have watched a couple videos, and I have been learning about these 3 scientists, Ptolemy, Copernicus, and Galileo. For this year, I have been studying about these 3 astronomers. Until I have noticed is that each of them adds a little bit more information to the other astronomer. That I have learned that Newton added a little bit more of astronomy to Galileo's theory. Einstein and add a little bit more to Isaac Newton. To conclude, I've done little bits, labs, and quizzes. That'll be it for this time. We're gonna go to Ethan number 1. Thank you for those lab results, Ethan number 4. Now we're gonna move on to Ethan number 5, the professor of medieval history. We're gonna see how he's doing this week. Hi, welcome back to History of Medieval Times. I'm your host, the professor of medieval history. Enough of this ale. I am Ethan, son of David. In this culture, my name would be Ethan David's son. So we will learn about the Vikings, the Celts, and the Anglo-Saxons. And I'm going to show you some very detailed maps where the Celts and the Anglo-Saxons came from. And the Vikings too. The Vikings are from Scandinavia, which is part of the continent Europe. Sweden, Denmark, and Norway together are known as Scandinavia. I am really excited for this because where part of my family came from. I am looking forward to learn more about them in the next week or two. I have been watching videos and reading about the Celts moving to Ireland and then becoming monks. I have been reading about the Vikings and the Age of Migration. I have also been reading a little bit of King Arthur. No one knows if he was a real king or a fictional character. No one knows. But I'm really wanting to know if he was a real king or fake king. I have just been learning about the Anglo-Saxons, and I'm excited to learn about the Vikings and the Celts over the next couple weeks. That'll be it for this time. Now, if you excuse me, what Vikings do is they go pillage some stuff, so see you later. Thanks for the history, Professor of Medieval History. And now we're going to move on to our final person, Techie. Hi, welcome back to the tech class. I'm your host, Techie, and I have been practicing tracing pictures and drawing pictures. Here are some pictures. That's all for this time for the tech class. We're going to wrap it up with Ethan number 1. We're going to go to you. That was very interesting, Techie. That will be all for this time. Next time we might see weird things. Who knows what's going to happen next time? It could be an earthquake, it could be a volcano, it could be giant fluffy cats raining from the sky. We don't know, but we're going to see you next time. Hopefully you will survive.